Dadhood. Modern Dadhood podcast.
Listen, man, listen. I'm a little loopy.
Have you been drinking Robitussin?
No, but no less than 20 minutes ago, I was asleep on the couch.
Oh, really?
I fell asleep.
You're legitimately ill.
I don't feel great.
Oh, sorry, dude.
That's part of life.
Yeah, but like we didn't have to record that. We could miss another week and disappoint listeners.
No.
Again.
No.
You're rallying.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, why don't you tell them what the podcast is?
This is Modern Dadhood, an ongoing conversation about the joys, challenges, and general insanity of being a dad in this moment. And my name is Mark Checkett, and I'm a dad to two boys who are 8 years old. They're twins. Twins, which in our last episode I learned is just a slang term that the kids use.
Oh, it is. Yeah. Just to call each other a friend, a term of endearment.
Bro, mate. Yeah.
And my name's Adam Flaherty, and I'm a daughter. I'm a daughter to two dads.
I'm a daughter. I'm the daughter from that show, My Two Dads.
I'm a dad of two young women, daughters who are 12 and 9, and who happen to be away at a sleepaway camp this week.
You smart man.
This is the second year. Well, so probably the fourth or fifth year for my older daughter, but the second year that they both have been away for almost an entire week, and it is strange.
Do you have contact with them? Do they write you letters?
No, there will be no contact until we pick them up.
That is strange. How does that feel? How does that feel going to sleep at night?
It's just oddly quiet. We, like any parents do, we're talking about them all the time and wondering what they're doing and what they're having for dinner and what kinds of activities they're getting into. And, there are things about it that are nice. At the same time, we really miss them a lot. But we know that, this is a great thing for them and will build, independence. And it's just, camp, I think in general is positives all around. Yeah,
I think it's such a great thing for kids if they have the opportunity to do so.
Agreed. For listeners, if you've been with us forever, thank you for sticking with us. I know we're a little hit or miss lately. I'll apologize again, but we're still we still love doing the show and all the connections that we make through it with other dads. For new listeners, welcome. I think this is a great episode for you to check out the show. Our guest today is Nick Henry, who goes by the moniker Bro Coach Nick. And we talked to him in great detail about habit building and like getting into good, positive, healthy routines and sticking to those routines. What else did we talk about, Mark?
We also talked about his parenting experience, his fatherhood experience. And I'm not going to give anything away because it's an interesting story, but he has one of the more unique fatherhood experiences that I feel like we've talked about on this show, and we've talked about some pretty unique fatherhood experiences.
And we'll get to that chat in just a few minutes, but also for listeners, find all of our past episodes at moderndadhood.com or wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you have a minute to tell a friend about the show, word of mouth goes a long way for us. Or please take like 30 seconds and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. That would go a long way to helping validate the show for other people who are looking for something to check out. Oh, one thing before we go to the interview is we should let listeners know that you and I, Mark, pitched ourselves as presenters at Podcast Movement, which is in New York City in September. And we're pitching a presentation that is targeted towards people who want to create business podcasts. And part of the process by which presentations and speakers are selected is public voting. And so we're just asking listeners to go to our episode notes, click on the link, and give us a vote for our presentation. The link will bring you right to it. You only have to vote for that one. You're more than welcome to look through and vote for others as well. But really just looking to rack up some votes so that maybe we have the opportunity to present at Podcast Movement.
It's probably going to take like 37 seconds of your time, max.
You could do that and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts in under, let's say, like 70 seconds. So just do it, right?
Just do it. You have nothing to lose, and we thank you for your service.
Well, listen, since you're a little under the weather, and since our conversation with Nick Henry ran a little long because it was so good and there's so much value packed in there, why don't we just throw to the interview?
Prepare to be value-tained. Cut the part where I said value-tained. Yeah, let's get ready. Hey, you know what? Stop screwing around. Press the buttons, man. Let's get right into it.
Nick Henry is a father of 4, including a couple of teenagers, a 10-year-old, and a toddler, and he's the founder of Brolistic Coaching, working as a behavior coach for men ages 30 to 50 who want to start over. I want to get into what that means with you, Nick, but thanks for joining us. We're happy to have you here.
Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you.
So we like to start by asking about your family, how fatherhood is going for you these days. But I want to preface that by saying I watched a video about you today, which opens in a very attention grabbing way that's connected to fatherhood. And maybe you could, in sharing about how fatherhood is going, you could share some of that story with our listeners too, because it's very compelling and obviously connects to your business.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have, I guess, a complicated relationship with fatherhood. I have a few different perspectives, I guess. But long story short, I have a 16-year-old daughter. I've got a 15-year-old stepdaughter. I've got a 10-year-old stepson, and my wife and I have a 1-year-old son together. He's about to turn 2 in a few months. I actually met my daughter, my 16-year-old, when she was 12. So I didn't get a chance to meet her until later on in life for, many, many reasons. But I had the opportunity to meet her when she was 12, right around the same time I met my wife. So I met my wife a little bit before then. And it kind of felt like everything kind of cascaded all at once. So I went from 1 year being single without knowing my daughter and without having, any real responsibility other than just work, to meeting my daughter, meeting my wife, being a stepfather to her 2 children, and then planning our life together, all within the matter of like a year, essentially. Wow. So it's been really, obviously there's challenging aspects to it, but it's been the greatest 4 years of my entire life, with the most amount of meaning and the most amount of clarity, I would say. It's been interesting.
Wow. I feel like fatherhood is, I think when you become a dad, I think a lot of times people will sort of say, and I guess because it's true, you end up having to learn on the job. I mean, you can like read some books and sort of prepare and sort of ask people, what's it going to be like, and do a good job preparing yourself. But the fact remains that when the kid is there, suddenly it's like, all right, fight or flight, survival kind of kicks in a little bit, and you have to learn on the job. And I'm just trying to sit here imagining for you, like you're stepping into some kids' lives on the step side who are already established beings. It sounds like they were maybe like 8 or 9 or 10 maybe when you first met. Does that sound right?
Yeah, so my stepson was 7. Okay. And his sister she must have been 11 or 12.
Wow. So yeah. So 11 or 12, it's like you're already becoming pretty fully formed as a person. And so you're like jumping into that. You're meeting your biological daughter at 12 years old, and you're getting soon after that, it sounds like it all happened, or maybe a couple years after that, the infant experience. And I don't know, it sounds like a lot, but like from your perspective, was one of those things more challenging than the other? Were they different in their own way? I wonder if you can kind of just compare and contrast those experiences a little bit.
Yeah. So I guess if I had to say which one was tougher to deal with, Well, I don't know if tougher is the right word. I would say that meeting my daughter for the first time was the biggest question mark for me. I had kind of no idea what I was walking into. I was extremely excited. I was super nervous, but I didn't really know how it was going to be received. I didn't know, you never know. I mean, she's 12 years old. So I don't know if she's going to be super happy to see me or if she's just going to be extremely like, whoa, what happened? All of these things, right?
Can I interrupt you quickly? Just for our own clarification for listeners, like, did you know for that full 12 years that she was alive that she existed?
Not the full 12 years. I found out a few years afterwards, but yeah, I did know. Yeah. But the toughest thing for me, so getting to know her and starting to parent her, like there was the first little bit of us was just us getting to know each other. And after that, I had to become a parent. And it was so funny to see this little human have all of these traits that I have. And I could see myself in her. I could see her behavior the way that I was when I was her age. And it was the ultimate like gut check for me to be like, I have to fix these own behaviors that I have that I see in myself for me to be able to lead by example for her. If I want her to have any chance of fixing these things or addressing these things or whatever. So I would say that aspect of it where you're essentially looking into the mirror and you're like, okay, I have to try to address myself and the issues that I have in order to be able to even parent correctly or parent this person as best as I can. So yeah, that was difficult.
I mean, I think, if we pivot a little bit to your business, that you've sort of spoken a little bit to how, becoming a father inspired your business. I know from watching that video, you also lost a friend, and that was a big part of the inspiration for your business. But, I'm thinking about like traditionally, when someone becomes a dad, they have a newborn, right? And it's in those newborn weeks, months, even the first year or two, when good habits that they had prior to becoming dads tend to slip away. Your experience was quite a bit different from that, going from being a single person with all the time in the world to now having this responsibility of a relationship and a child. I would love to hear about, how, if you could maybe summarize for us how you started the business, how you identified the need, and how you landed on men specifically, and how that also sort of parlays into this subset of men who are dads.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been in the industry for about 15 years. I started out as a personal trainer many, many years ago, and I didn't go to university, didn't go to college. I was essentially like a meathead when I started as a personal trainer. I was super into the gym. I knew how to work out myself, and I was like, why don't I just do this? Seems like it would be fun. I immediately, came to the conclusion that I didn't know what I was doing. I had no clue how to coach people. And that kind of kicked off the journey of let me get really, really good at this one aspect, right? So I started to learn how to, structure training programs, how to do assessments, how to, look at structural imbalances in the body and all of these awesome things. And that kind of led me into, well, there's a whole nutrition side of things now. My clients are working out in the gym, they're not getting results. Let's try to address the nutrition side. So I kind of went all in on the nutrition side of things. And over the years, I kept getting really good at each individual aspect of, hey, let's get into really good shape. And I still had these clients that I could give the perfect plan, right? And it wouldn't translate. There was something missing. And it took me some years to kind of figure out the behavior piece and to figure out that the perfect plan, like really it doesn't exist. There is no such thing as the perfect plan. And I started to get really interested in, okay, how do people actually change their behavior? How do you actually learn a new habit or a new skill? how does that work? And I went down that rabbit hole, and it was so interesting to me because it felt like it was the missing piece to what I had been doing the past, 15 years. And so for the last, I guess, 4 years, I completely kind of revamped the way that I coach people. And the way that I coach people now is it is one habit at a time, one small actionable piece that they can repeat for a few weeks. And then we just stack on top, and we just keep stacking wins over and over and over again. And as far as the like who I like to coach and why I like to coach men in their 30s and 40s, like I'm a man in his 30s right now. So I think that my own experience when I'm listening to a client, when I'm speaking to a client, it's useful. It's useful for me because I can empathize, and it's useful for them because I can speak in like, hey, I'm in the trenches with you. Like I'm kind of here as well. So that's the ideal client for me. That's who I love to work with. And that's kind of like the cliff notes of how I started and where I ended up.
Yeah. That behavioral piece that you're talking about is particularly a fascinating thing to me. And I was kind of struck. You already started to unpack the thing that I was going to ask you to unpack, but maybe we'll kind of go at it a little bit more. On your website, right on the homepage, it says, you don't need more information. You need alignment between who you believe you are and how you're actually living. And as I was starting to read through your website, that line just like really kind of stood out to me. It really struck a chord with me. And I think you were just starting to get at that a little bit with these, I guess, smaller habitual changes. But I wonder if you can go a little bit further into what alignment between who you believe you are and how you're actually living means.
Yeah, so I'm glad that caught you, because that I so every new client that I take on, this is the first thing that we do together before we start talking about nutrition, before we start talking about habits or anything like that. We take the time to map out the vision that they have. They are a certain person right now, but they want to do something different. They want to be someone different. There's a vision that they have somewhere in their head of the person that they want to be, right? And I think there's a lot of men that they don't take the time to actually think that part through. Who do I actually want to be? And what does that person do? Right? What are the values? Like what's important to that person? What does that person do on a daily basis? What does he not do on a daily basis? And so we map out the vision of health and wellness and kind of where they want to go. And what that does is it sets this foundation of what they're willing and not willing to do. I think there's a lot of men that they're really hard on themselves as far as, oh my God, I know I should be working out X amount of times per week. I'm supposed to wake up at 5 a.m. and run 10 miles. I'm supposed to do this and I'm supposed to do that. And those are all fine and good. Like I'm all for, going to do your workouts, eating really well, like all of that stuff. But sometimes I'll be on a call with a client and they'll go, I know I missed my workout yesterday. Like I know I should have done it. I feel like shit, like whatever. And I'll dig a little bit on, well, what happened? Why didn't you go? Well, my kid, he had a little league game and this and that and whatever. And I'm like, well, wait, so you're saying you didn't do your workout because you wanted to watch your kid play? Like that's a good thing. Like, I don't know what world like this, that's really good. That means that's super important to you. Right. And it just took precedent over the workout, which is not a bad thing. So creating the vision of what you're willing and not willing to do and what your priorities are sometimes can make you feel a little bit better about you miss a workout here and again just because you want to spend time with your kids. I don't know. In my eyes, that's okay. That's fine. So that's kind of what I mean by that line on the website.
That's really interesting. The idea of feeling discouraged because in your eyes, you screwed up because you missed your workout. I screwed up. I feel discouraged by it because of this other because of whatever. Right. But like trying to then, and then I don't know, I would imagine that then leads to make further discouragement, right? Like if you're kind of in a negative mindset, right, it sort of maybe has this domino effect, which you might take with you to the next day and the next workout session or the next time you prepare a meal. Whereas if you think more positively about it, as you put it, dig a little deeper, it just puts a positive frame around the whole thing, which seems so simple actually when you say it. Yeah. But there must be a hard thing to change if your instinct is to kind of say, be discouraged about the thing that you didn't do, you know?
Yeah. It's reframing. So it's difficult to do to yourself, to be honest with you. Like sometimes it's hard because you tend to be you tend to be harder on yourself than you are on other people, right? Your inner monologue, like the inner coach that you have in your head or whatever, that dude in your head is pretty harsh sometimes. And so a lot of times with clients, it's a few clarifying questions on, and it's not always like that. Like sometimes, you probably should have done your thing. Like you scrolled on your phone instead of going to the gym. Like that's a different story. But a lot of times they have this negative light on something that is, I think your kids are a pretty high priority. They're pretty high on the totem pole. So reframing those as, I guess you could say as a win, right? Like it speaks to your character. It speaks to the vision that you have of your life, and it aligns with the vision that you have. So that's kind of part of, I would say the biggest part of the coaching journey that I take people on is that's that first piece. And we have to line that up because every habit and every practice or action or whatever that we do throughout the year-long process, I'm going to ask you every time does this align with the vision that you have? We wrote it down together. Let's look at it. And if it does, perfect. If it doesn't, then we have to tweak it. Right.
I know for me, so I go to the gym 2 to 3 mornings a week and do strength training. I do cardio most days, and my kids are older now. My daughters are 12 and 9, and so I have a bit more. They're more independent, so I have a bit more flexibility with my schedule to work things in when I can. They don't need constant supervision, but I do find that when I break my gym schedule, when it starts to happen like once in a while, it can pretty quickly start to happen like much more regularly. And I just like very quickly can lose accountability to myself and start making, I don't know if I want to use the word excuses, but like, I really needed the sleep. I haven't been getting enough sleep lately. And so rather than getting up at 5 a.m. and going to the gym, I let myself sleep an extra hour and a half. And I do that once, and then it's easier to justify that the next time. So there's a whole accountability thing here that I find when I'm working with a coach, whether it's a personal trainer or whether it's a nutritionist or somebody who's helping me stay accountable to myself, I stay much more rigid. But for me, like I thrive on tough love. So if somebody wants to work with you and they say, Nick, like, I want you to be hard on me. I want you to like be a little mean if I'm starting to get a little lax. Will you do that? Or is that just not your style?
I will. This is what I tell clients. I tell them all the same thing. I will care 1% less than you do about where you want to go. And I do that because I've been doing this for a long time, and accountability is the biggest thing that I offer, right? You tend to work harder when someone's watching. That's just kind of how we're all wired. But there's a fine line between accountability and like the tough love thing. I'm with you on the tough love for particular cases. And I used to work, so I've worked with athletes before. I've worked with people who are prepping for something in particular. In those situations, absolutely. Like, I will be a little bit more rigid. With the clients that I have today, I will keep them accountable to what they say they are going to do and what they commit to, but I will not hold their hand through it. And I will not be, I guess, tough with them. I'm pretty neutral when I work with people. So the goal is I want them to care about it. It has no, like, it makes no difference if I care. So I always tell them, look, I'm going to match your intensity. So if you care a lot about this, I'm going to care a little tiny bit less than you do. But if you don't care, I'm going to care a little bit tiny less than you do. So I kind of match wherever they go. I know that was like a long-winded answer, but the accountability piece, absolutely. The tough love, I don't necessarily do that anymore. Not as much, let's say.
Well, Adam, the next time you complain about missing going to the gym, I'm gonna be super mean to you.
You don't need to be mean to me about that, but like, let's say we're let's say we're on a Zoom and it's 5:00 and I'm drinking a beer. I give you permission to be like, dude, why are you drinking a beer right now? Do you really need that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, my actual sentence would be, dude, why are you drinking a beer right now without me?
why are you alone?
With you?
Yeah, that's it. Why am I not included in this?
Why didn't you call me, man?
That's awesome.
Can you talk to us a little bit about some of the programs that you offer? And I guess, like, maybe talk a little bit about that, but then what, in your opinion or recommendation, might be the best fit for like a dad who wants to make a change, but maybe feels like, I don't know how to fit this in. I feel like I don't have the time for, like, I know it's important, but I feel like I don't have the time. Like, what would you kind of recommend, if, as far as the offerings that you provide for someone like that?
Yeah, I think not having the time is a giant part of what I do with people. And so I structured this like hierarchy of skills and practices that I use with clients now. I call it the bro pyramid, of course. And the majority of what I do with clients is at the bottom, the foundation of the pyramid. And it's I call them the 4 non-negotiables. So the first one is balancing your intake. So do you know how much food you're eating and can you maintain your body weight? Okay, that's the first piece. The second piece is, are you moving on purpose? So not like accidentally you did gardening today, but like you set some time aside on purpose. Hey, I'm going to go for a walk. Hey, I'm going to play, baseball with my kid. I'm going to go to the gym, like those type of things on purpose. So purposeful. Are you able to sleep 7 to 9 hours a night consistently? And the last one, which is the most important piece to all of this, is, can you do all 3 of those things and have time for your family and have time for your friends and have time for yourself and be consistent with those 3 things? So that's like 90% of the work that I do with people is just those 4 things. So typically when I work with a client, they will need help in one of those areas or several of those areas. And for example, let's say it's balancing intake, right? We would look at balancing intake, and we would there's a handful of different skills that you can pick from or different practices you can pick from. And we would pick one. We would take the call to go through what that practice is. I would have them kind of map out what they're going to commit to. And it's a very specific, I'm going to track my food using this tool every single day for the next 2 weeks. And then I confidence check them. So how confident are you on a scale of 1 to 10 that you're going to do that thing that you just said that you were going to do? I'm an 8 or I'm a 9 or whatever, right? And we keep building habits like that until we get to the point where they miss out on one of them. They come back and they go, coach, I missed this one. I didn't land it. It didn't go well. Okay, why? Well, I was overwhelmed with work. I didn't have time to do it, whatever. And then it's like, okay, now we switch gears to let's work on the calendar. Because that's honestly the biggest piece with a lot of people is managing the calendar especially when you have kids. There's, they come first. So you have to guard your time like it's the most precious thing ever. And any little chunk of time that you can set aside, oh my God, you got to do it. So a lot of what I do with clients is making time, managing the calendar, setting reminders, like blocking off time, like all of those things. But so that's the first kind of foundational layer of the bro pyramid are those 4 non-negotiables. The other layers, honestly, the top 2 layers is like most of the fitness industry, I would say. So the tip of the spear, that's the keto diet, the carnivore diet, the very extreme, very specific diets, the very extreme and specific training programs, those type of things. Those are at the top. I almost never get people to focus on those things.
Interesting.
Those are short-term interventions, I would call them. And so most of the work that I do with people is at the bottom, and that's like meat and potatoes. Yeah.
I think you said the phrase confidence check. Do I have that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's, to me, there's something really interesting psychologically, right in the space of, and I think actually I this is something that I do. I think I'm becoming more aware every day. This is something that I do. I think there's something really interesting in the space of making a decision, like setting an intention, like I'm going to get better sleep now. I've decided that the old sleep habits I'm done with those. And I've decided I'm going to have better sleep habits. Psychologically, there's an interesting phenomena that I've read about that is simply because you've set the intention, you've made the decision, it actually might inhibit your ability to follow through and do the thing, because you've done this thing where you've taken the uncertainty of like, there's this, sleep's not great. When you make a decision, which feels like progress. And so you're already getting this feeling of like, I've done something, and you haven't done anything. And I feel like I do this, I feel like so much, like all the time. I'm like, I'm going to do this thing. And then I feel really good that I made that decision that I'm going to do the thing. And I rarely actually do the thing. And it just sounds really interesting to me that, and I guess I wonder how much of when you're in that space with somebody and you're doing those confidence checks, are you kind of coming up against these psychological things that are happening, for people where you really have to be pushing on people in that moment?
Yeah. So so the reason I do the confidence check, and it's funny because no matter how long I've been working with someone, they resist giving a number every time. Doesn't matter how, they know I'm going to do it. I do it on every call.
That's interesting.
And they resist. There's always a piece of them. I go on a scale of 1 to, so I repeat back exactly what they said, right? They said they were going to do. I go on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that you're going to come to the next call and you're going to tell me that you nailed it? And they go, oh, I'm really confident. I'm like, okay, scale of 1 to 10, So yes, to your point, there is something that's like just thinking about making a change can be satisfying and can sometimes stall you from doing something. That is why when I work with people, I get super specific. This is great. Like, oh my God, this is great. We're going to make a change to this section of, this skill. Like you're going to sleep better, to use your example, right? What does that mean? How are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? Like, are you going to, like, what does sleep better mean for you? So I get super granular with them immediately and I pull out as many specifics as I can. And I go, okay, awesome. Let's make this into an actionable thing. Let's package this into something that you can now say that you're going to do, and that you're confident that you're going to do it. And if they come to me and they say, I'm going to sleep 9 hours every night for the next 2 weeks, and I confidence check them and they say, I'm probably a 7, we reel it back. We go, okay, you're not like, I want you to come back to the next call with a win. I want you to say like, I nailed this. So how are we going to adjust this to make it so that you can come back with a win? And I always tell them the goal is to improve the say-do ratio. If you're constantly doing what you say you're going to do, you're going to be more likely to continue to do that. And I think a lot of people, they have the inner monologue and they say all these things and they don't end up doing those things. And it sucks. It's just such a shitty feeling to do that all the time. So that's why I think that confidence check tool is so important.
I mean, it's easy to get excited about making big changes, and it's easy to work with a coach and set goals, but sometimes actually thinking about doing the work can be very daunting. And, I think one of the realities about making big changes in your life, improving your health physically and mentally, is it does take work and time and dedication. So what do you say to dads listening who just feel like, yes, I really want to make a change, but I'm terrified about the commitment that and the hard work that it's going to take to actually do it. And that might be the reason that they haven't pursued it for years.
No, look, that's a really good point. And I think a lot of the men that I work with, and I think men in general, they're seeking this like perfect outcome. And they want it to be, they're like, if I can't do a 90-minute strength session 4 times a week, it's not worth it. It's not good enough. And I would say that, it is really daunting to look at the entirety of, the program or the thing that you want to get to. And it can be scary to look at that, especially if you want perfection. And what I like to do with people is, look, doing like if you have to rate this from 0 to 10, right? 10's perfect, 0 is you're doing nothing. Getting to a 1 is still better than 0. So sometimes you have to, you got to go a little easy on yourself, and you got to give yourself a little bit of leeway on this stuff, because if you're always expecting perfection, first of all, you're never going to get there for sure. I've been doing this for a long time. I've never had a perfect workout. I've never had a perfect year. Like there's always something that goes wrong, but it's being able to find the progress in those really difficult weeks, in the weeks where, the kids are sick, your wife needs your help. It's super busy at work. You're not sleeping well, but you were able to go for 2 walks that week, right? Which is way more than you would have done otherwise. Like those are the types of little steps that really, really build long-term resilience, and that make it a little bit easier to digest when you're looking at like, okay, I don't have to be perfect. I just have to be a little bit better than what I did the last time I was in this type of situation, right?
And when you start seeing results and feeling results, and people start telling you that they're noticing your results, that's a really good and gratifying feeling. And it definitely, at least from my perspective, my experience, it's a great motivator to continue with the work you're doing. Absolutely.
I think when you're getting, especially from your family, from your kids or your wife, when they start to notice, and even when they start to get involved, and when they start to understand, like I know with clients, I've had some clients for years, and their kids and their wife, they know the structure. They're like, oh, what are you working on this week? And they're kind of involved in the process. But it's such a great feeling when you do start to see some sort of movement. It's awesome.
Well, and needless to say, like, you're modeling really great behavior and habits for your kids. Not that they're, necessarily going to go out and start pumping iron, but for them to see you prioritizing, taking care of yourself. I mean, that's modeling that behavior is huge, and that will stick with them forever.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I think that's one of the one of the most motivating things since meeting my daughter, since having my son and my stepchildren, is they're watching. They're always watching me, and I feel it and I know it. And I'm not expecting them to do what I do or to like what I like, but I'm going to try to set an example. And I feel it. Even just talking about it now, I'm like fired up. Like I really take that to heart.
That's awesome. I am curious about the name Brolistic, though. How'd you land on that name?
So it was actually one of my clients that came up with it. So this was a long time ago. This was, I want to say probably 8 years ago. I was going to school for nutrition, and the name of the school was the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition. And they have a very holistic approach, right? And at the time I was like powerlifting, but I was going to this like hippy dippy school, so anyways, my one of my clients, she coined the term, and she said, dude, you're such a bro, but you're always doing this. You're always into this, like more of like a holistic whole body kind of approach. And she came up with Brolistic, and I was like, oh my God, I love that. I'm just going to run with that.
Gonna take that.
Love it. It's catchy.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, Dad's listening. Totally encourage you to check out Nick and what he's doing. His website is brolistic.com. He's on Instagram at brocoachnick. We will put all links to everything Nick Henry and Brolistic in the episode notes for you. And I hope that this inspires you. If you have been thinking about it for a long time, making positive changes in your life, hopefully this conversation with Nick inspires you, and go check it out. Even if you don't end up working with Nick, he has some really great valuable information that he gives away on his website, and he's just a great source of information and education. So highly recommend checking him out. Again, brolistic.com. And Nick, this has been really awesome. I've learned a lot, and it's been great getting to know you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Mark, for having me on. I really appreciate it. If you're having issues with something, just hit me up, and I'm glad to help. But thank you guys for having me.
Slide into Nick's DMs.
That's it. Exactly.
I like that guy.
I feel motivated by that guy.
Are you interested in sharing that since we had this chat with him, which was actually several weeks ago, you've made some pretty significant changes in your life? And I am curious, is it Bro Coach Nick who inspired your recent commitment to physical activity and changing diet and so forth? And just we share a little bit about that.
I will admit that the conversation with him was really, truly motivating. We've talked to a couple of people that are similar in some respects that do the coaching or health coaching or wellness coaching, all this kind of stuff. And like every time I'm like, man, I need to change some of my habits because I have some bad habits. I'm not like horrible, but I don't take care of myself in the way that I should. But I would say it was a combination of conversation with that guy. You also, because you started, seeing a nutritionist and working with a coach, like now at this point, like a couple years ago, probably. Yeah. And you talk about it sometimes. You drop little nuggets and ask me if I'm ever gonna get off my lazy ass.
I've never used those words with you.
No, not your words, my words. But, I don't know. And just a few other things. I don't know. The stars kind of finally aligned. And I thought, I'm not getting any younger. I'm in my mid 40s. I have 2 young kids. I would like to be in better shape. I'd like to be healthier. I'd like to be a better role model as far as that stuff goes. And I'd like to just feel better. I wasn't feeling great like a lot of the time. I know I said I'm loopy today, but I think I might just be coming down with something. But in general, I changed everything. I was drinking too much caffeine. So I cut way, way, way back on coffee. I was going from like 8 or more cups of coffee a day. I would just drink coffee all day long from the moment I woke up until the evening. I have like 1 cup maybe a day.
Can I ask, did weaning off coffee, well, and you've done that pretty quickly.
I just stopped. Stopped.
So did you feel any rebound effects from that?
No, but also I think I changed so much at once that I don't know if I would have been able to tell anyway. Like I went from eating crappy processed foods to primarily eating whole foods, lots of fresh stuff, like focusing on lean proteins and trying to get a lot of protein, and going from not really drinking any water to constantly drinking water all day long, going from not exercising at all to running every day. I try to do 30 push-ups every day, but I got weak wrists, so I do the best I can. And I do a little bit of exercises like with free weights, and I have a bench down in the basement, and trying to get adequate sleep. Like I changed everything just across the board. I felt like that was probably the best way for me to do it, just because I had a lot of bad habits built up over the years that like they just all needed to be broken. So I kind of felt the best way was just to dive in. And it's been about a month, and in general, I feel a lot better. Like I feel more clear, more awake, like more just with it and on the ball kind of. And I don't know. Everything has gotten better. Like I would always feel just like really gross and kind of bloated, like most of the time. I'd sit down to eat a meal and be hungry, but like get halfway through it and just start to feel like shit. Whereas now it's just not the case. Like I've noticed some significant changes already, like within a month. My resting heart rate is like lower. I've lost a couple pounds. I can sleep really well. I'm clearer.
That's awesome. I am so psyched for you. And I think the better you feel, the more motivating it is to continue with it. And, and I really do think that this episode like will inspire other dads, from hearing Nick and his story and about his coaching to hearing that it motivated you to make some really big changes that you've been able to stick to. Like there's no better time than now to make the decision and commit to doing things that will change your life and make you feel better and look better.
Yeah, I would say it's never too late to start, but also like you should start.
Yeah, absolutely. and baby steps. Like you don't have to do all of those things that you did at the same time. Yeah,
no, I don't know that I'd recommend that. Many years ago, I smoked. I smoked like a chimney. And I started smoking when I was young, and that too. I don't know. One day I woke up. I didn't have any cigarettes because I had smoked them all the night before. I felt like an ashtray when I woke up the next morning. It was a horrible feeling. I stayed in bed pretty much most of the day until I left bed to go to the couch to play video games. And then I went to bed. And the next morning I woke up and I was like, hey, I didn't smoke any cigarettes yesterday at all. Maybe I should quit. And I did. Like I just stopped. I went from smoking a ton to just stopping smoking. And it was rough for maybe like 2 weeks. But I never went back. And the thought of having a cigarette now is just completely nauseating. And so in the back of my mind also was that. It's like, if I can do that, if I can just like cut the cord, then I can do that in a positive way now.
It's an inspiring story. I'm psyched for you, and I'm psyched for our listeners who are motivated to make some changes too. It's a great time of year to do it. And you got this.
Yes, you do. Hell yes. Huzzah. Get it. Get some. Oorah.
I don't know that I've heard oorah. Did you just make that one up?
Oorah. No, that's a military thing.
Oh, shows how much I know.
You're out of your
All
mind.
right. This is the end of the episode.
All right. Let's do it.
So
Thanks.
once again,
thanks for coming.
Modern Dadhood is on all those podcast platforms: Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Hark Audio, all of them.
We're also on the internet.
Internet, social media, moderndadhood.com. It's sort of
That's
the
it.
hub for everything. You can contact us there. You can buy Modern Dadhood merchandise there.
Yeah. You can send us an email at hey@moderndadhood.com if you'd like. Tell us your, health and well-being story.
Thank you to Casper Baby Pants and to Spencer Albee for the music in our podcast. Thank you to Bro Coach Nick, aka Nick Henry, and Mark.
Yes.
I mean, you know what to do. Close out the episode for us, dude.
Thank you for listening.
You're loopy.
I'm going to bed.
Podcast. Living modern.